Okay, here we go.
All right.
Go, Catalina.
Quick tribute. And then we're off and running.
Let's go. Jumpy. The music's jumpy, Catalina. There we go.
Yes, let's talk Melrose. Melrose, I'm Tom Catalini.
I'm Jen LeClaire.
I'm Sarah Waywell Timm, guest hosting.
Oh, I forgot to say, I'm Thomas Anthony Catalini, and this is Let's Talk Melrose. Melrose, a show where Melrosians talk to Melrosians about Melrose. Welcome to the show, Sarah Waywell Timm.
Thank you very much, Tom Anthony Catalini.
Yes, Thomas, I prefer.
Sorry.
Let's keep this upscale. Speaking of well, it's not really upscale, but very super convenient. Have you guys been to Tenoch yet?
I have not yet. I have not.
Oh my God, I've been 3 times.
Have you? I haven't.
It's been open for like 6 days.
Let's Tenoch Melrose. I know. I have not been. How is it?
Well, I went back 3 times, so
I'm guessing good.
Yeah,
it's very good. We used to go to the one in Medford. It's very good. The flaw in my plan is I keep getting the same thing every time, so I have not expanded. I get the veggie burrito. It's gold.
That's your go-to.
Yes, and I stand in line thinking I'm going to look at the menu. I'm going to try all these other things, and then I just go to the go-to.
Sometimes you just don't want to take a risk. You know it works. Have you been, Sarah?
I have not been, but I have to give a shout out to Giacomo's Tuesday night family dinner. Sorry, that's my go-to every Tuesday night.
Okay,
nice.
Why Tuesday? So that you don't have to cook, so that you have plenty of time to watch Let's Talk Melrose? Is that what it is?
No, they have family dinner on Tuesday night, and you can call 15 minutes before and get enough food to feed 5 people for 2 nights in a row for $50.
Oh my God, this is breaking news. I did not know about that.
Maybe I should have revealed. They're gonna run out now.
That is good to know. There's nothing better than Italian food to do family style. Like just get a ton of it and it's good the next day. Other than that's awesome. Okay, cool. All right, well. Yes. The other quick good news before we can add this to the news. Was that the signal, Tom?
Well, I overreacted because that was breaking news. So let's get into the official news.
Okay.
So, Sarah, this is how we do that.
I'm on the edge
now
of my
we are
seat.
inside of the official news segment right now.
I want to before we get to the first thing on the list, I want to add one quick thing. Also, along with kind of downtown businesses, the Liquor Commission voted unanimously to approve extended outdoor table service. So so cheers to that, and let's hope that the weather stays good for a little while and we can all continue to hang out and eat and drink outside. So that's good news. Sarah, you were involved with a really cool event that happened over the weekend, a commemorative anniversary event, and I saw your amazing daughter was involved as well. You want to tell us about it?
Sure. I have to give credit where credit is due, which is Florence Lee, who is a wonderful parent and friend who I have gotten to know through the Hoover, and our children are the exact same age as our 2 older kids. Florence had invited me into her backyard, and she had created something called the Little Pink Schoolhouse. And she had all of these amazing ideas of all the things she wanted to do, and that she had this educational background, and we were going to embrace the downtime of COVID and bring a group of kids together and really dig in and learn about things in a very organic way and follow paths, and it would be exciting. And she finished her whole story to me, and I said, so when is all this happening? She, I don't want to be confined by times. And I said, well, Florence, if we don't have a time when people are supposed to be somewhere to do the learning, no one's going to know that show up and do the learning. And she was thinking really out here, and I'm very pragmatic. And I was like, well, if you want to do this, let's do this. And it was just what she needed to sort of flip her switch into turning what she was thinking. Yeah,
Cool.
we work well together in
like
that
the Wonder
regard.
Twins.
Yes. You each bring your superpowers to the table. I'm a get shit done kind of person. Florence is a big idea person.
That's a good combo. So what happened? What did you get done?
So what did you guys do? There was an event over the weekend.
There was.
And
so
I'm sorry that I missed it, but I heard.
No, it's actually, you can watch the, it was live streamed and it's now available. Everyone can go to at ML200 Melrose 100 or hashtag that. That stands for Mary Livermore 200 because it's her 200th birthday.
Yeah. Awesome.
And it's the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment. So Florence wanted to do something to educate our children on the centennial of the 19th Amendment. And she wasn't really sure what she wanted to do. And I'm really good at finding people who know stuff. So I reached out to Jackie Lavender Bird and I said, hey, what would I need to do if we wanted to have a parade a la the suffragettes, and everyone could dress in white and we could wear purple and gold and we could all walk down the street. And then we remembered that it was COVID and it's probably not a good time to have a parade. And Jackie put me in touch with Vanessa Hale, who hails from Melrose and was obsessed with Mary Livermore. And I had never heard of Mary Livermore in my whole life. Mary Livermore is an incredibly famous suffragette, and sadly, we don't hear her name that often. We all live in Melrose, and most of the people I know who've even lived here a long time didn't know the name Mary Livermore. She's actually buried over in Wyoming Cemetery.
I was going to say, is she a Melrosian?
She is a Melrosian.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. I think she was born in Boston, but she lived in Melrose and was revered.
Well, Melrose is only like 100 years old, or a little over 100 years old. So she was around 200 years ago, right? Is that what you were saying?
So yeah, it would be her 200th. She died in 1905 in Melrose.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I think she made it to the point where we were a city.
An actual city.
Yeah, just barely. She unfortunately didn't make it to be able to be on Let's Talk Melrose, but we obviously we would have had her as a guest for sure. Maybe the inaugural guest. I'm not sure. So we'll put that. It looked really cool. It looked great. I'm anxious to learn more. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet, but we'll put the link up and.
It was an awesome event, and I just want to add that the people who spoke, so Vanessa Hale spoke about Mary Livermore, who was very famous for her speech, "What shall we do with our daughters?"
Yeah.
She was an advocate for women's voting, and she was an advocate for women's health. And we also had two wonderful high school singers perform at the end, Caroline Delisola and Alyssa Champagne. And then Rilda, I'm blanking on
Rilda Kissel.
Rilda Kissel spoke from the Women's
We'll tag
Commission.
them all on social media. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll get them all. Yeah, we'll put all the links up.
Conchetta Green just raised the roof. She started her speech with, "I'm a Black woman living in Melrose," and really gave this awesome historical perspective of what the role of Black women during the suffragette movement was and what the role of white women was in suppressing the role of Black women. And
Wow.
I think that's just, to me, what everything is all about, is really understanding the historical perspective and what roles we all play as we're creating new history. So it was a great event.
And the kids liked it. They learned a lot.
So the kids did all of these events leading up to the event. They created all of this wonderful artistic things like these floral arrangements with cards, and there's going to be an Instagram campaign with the hashtag, and you can take a picture of yourself with what I love about a woman I admire in Melrose and why. And for Florence, this was just the very, very beginning of a huge endeavor where this is going to carry on. The girls are going to continue learning and sharing what they've learned. She has ideas about bringing a display to some of the senior housing developments,
Right.
not with lots of people, obviously, but
Yeah.
but just sharing these beautiful displays that they've created. It's been amazing.
Awesome.
That's so great.
Well
Thanks so
done.
much. Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for filling us in. And like I said, we'll get some more information so that people can catch up and see.
That's not the only thing happening around town, though.
No, of course not. Of course
There's a
not.
lot more going on.
Yeah, I'll do this next one real quick. So in other sort of anniversary news, Melrose Alliance Against Violence is continuing to celebrate their 25th anniversary throughout the month of October. A great organization. We'll put their website up as well to figure out, so you can learn about how you can support. There's a great new mural that just finished on the side of the YMCA by Follow Your Art. You can be it's interactive, so you can be the eye in the light. It looks really cool. The next thing
Are they
have
going to be able to do their walk or no?
it's going to be, from what that's at the end of the month, I think the 24th, 25th. And I think it's like how everybody else has been doing these kinds of things, like the virtual walk. You kind of have to do it on your own. But there's information on their site. So we'll put that up there. Oh, cool.
I walked by.
And the next thing they have is October 18th is their candlelight vigil. And I'm not exactly sure how that I'm sure the information's on their website. I don't know off the top of my head how that
they've
works,
done a great job with just making
Yeah.
it virtual. You go to the website, there's a walk, you can
Yeah.
register. We talked about that a little bit last week, so don't
And there's
forget about
bracelets.
that. And then they're breaking ground in 99 Washington Street. So Ward 5, where I live, Sean McMaster tweeted out a helpful fact sheet, and I had forgotten about that. But they're breaking ground. Marty's is no more. I've got all the furniture I'm going to get, and they're making 141 units. And so that, you know what that means? More viewers of LTMM are coming to town.
Yeah, this is kind of where we started. This was one of the first projects we started talking about a year ago.
We helped bring it into reality, I think.
Yeah, of course.
That's fair to say.
Of course. We
going to be a beer garden.
I wish there will be retail space. They did make some changes and make some concessions, so that was cool. The project listened to the community. There will be a community room for neighbors, so we just have to bring all our own beer, I guess is how that works.
It's no problem.
Yeah,
that doesn't generate tax revenue.
No, I know. Also, if you have any questions about school reopening, there's the a new Ask Me Anything with Superintendent Dr. Kuchenberger, Thursday, October 8th from 6:30 to 7:30. We'll put the link up for that.
You know what I'm going to ask, Jen?
What?
I'm going to ask Dr. Kuchenberger, when are you going to be on LTMM?
Yeah.
She's very, very busy, but she
is rather busy. But if she wants to hear from the people, I see no better way than to come on here. She'll hear from all of our, tens of fans directly. But there's a form you can ask questions in advance, and then you can watch and tune in with that, and they'll be doing more of those from what we understand.
So the other thing I wanted to see if you guys were looped into this. There was like an email thread going around, and I hadn't heard about this, but there was like an open letter from the I guess there's a racial justice community coalition in Melrose. We've talked about some of the issues on the show here: systemic racism. There was the controversy with the police sign. There's a lot of the mayor's 2 weeks towards change. There's a lot of activity. We've talked about this on the show a lot. And I hadn't realized that I guess the HR director of Melrose is retiring, and the position was open. And what I found with this email letter that was going around is they said, well, the city had sort of opened and run the period to accept applications for the position and closed it and did it. This coalition felt they really didn't take advantage of the opportunity to, maybe do a little extra outreach. And there were some ideas actually in the 2 weeks towards change about how do you reach out and engage people of color and so forth to in different ways in a hiring process. And I thought, boy, this is the HR director. So what better kind of a senior level position, certainly in the middle of the HR. So I signed the letter. That's really all I know about it was they just said like, hey, could we revisit this and maybe kind of broaden the scope. I don't know if you guys had come across that.
I did see that, and yeah, it's interesting. Sarah, what do you think? What do you think? I know you heard
Well,
about
I
it.
think what Tom pointed out is that there's opportunities to do things with intention. And if we don't do things with intention, then everything continues to look like the screen looks. And to require, if we're actually saying that we intentionally want to have more diversity inclusion in Melrose, then what better position in Melrose to have with some maybe external perspective, and bring into Melrose somebody who's actually going to hire people who aren't the usual suspects in Melrose. And I just think if we really want to start moving the needle forward, it's an opportunity to do that.
Right, exactly. It's no small position. It's a significant position with significant responsibility in the city. And you know, I truly believe that everyone that I know and I've met who's working in the city is of the best intention. They're all, you know, doing a great job and trying to do a great job.
Oh
So
yeah, I don't think there's anything like
yes,
nefarious.
there's nothing nefarious about it. Of course,
No,
that's what I'm trying to say. But there's
and we have
there's
and
dots,
just to be
dots
clear,
not being connected, you know,
yeah,
like anybody in any department in the city, based on what you said, like that the mayor's 2 weeks towards change, if you know, you always want to be looking at who needs to know about this, who else should be in the room, you know, are there any red flags here, who else, you know, if the departments in the city could be talking more, you know.
I think the reality is though that we've gotten to 2020 and are in this situation not necessarily from bad intention.
Right.
I'm a lifelong Democrat. The Democrats have not always been on the right side of racial justice. And this is an I just think lack of nefariousness doesn't excuse lack of intention.
Correct. You've got to go
Yeah.
to the you know, the anti-racist side of the
Correct.
really have to kind of overcorrect.
Mhm.
And just to be clear to the viewers too, we did not you know, this came across my email, I signed the letter, that's all I know about it. We did not reach out to the city. We're not a real investigative journalism
Right.
outfit here, but that is what people are talking about in Melrose. So the other thing that people are talking about is, of course, the whole pandemic and the COVID crisis. And I think we had talked or we had seen in the news recently that, you know, Melrose had sort of gone into the yellow and isn't quite out of it. But, you know, the reality is this thing is still lingering around. And we are fortunate this week to have a special guest, a Melrosian, Brandon Reid, who's going to join us as soon as all the, you know, technology wires get connected properly. There he is, who has a very personal COVID story as a Melrosian to share with us. So Brandon, welcome to the show.
Thank you,
Hi,
Tom.
Brandon.
Thanks for coming aboard, and thank you for, you know, we had a little pre-meeting, so thank you for sharing what you're about to share. But if you could just sort of fill in the viewers on your COVID story, that would be great.
Absolutely, yeah, no, my pleasure. So basically, I just wanted to come on here and just speak shortly about my experience with COVID over the last several weeks, in hopes that it will resonate with people and folks will be reminded that we're not through this. We're very much in the middle of this pandemic. We may, you know, it's here. It's not going anywhere, and we need to protect ourselves and our loved ones. So my experience with it was, I was several weeks ago, actually on the 16th of October, I had tested positive for COVID. I'm sorry, September. Yes.
Yeah.
I can't fast forward time, but if I could, I'd like to see what's going on in a couple of weeks. But
Fact-
anyway,
sometimes I'd like to do that.
Fact checking is strong here on LTMM.
Oh yeah.
well, actually, let me go even backwards a little further. That Monday of that week, I had been experiencing some symptoms. This short chest cough, which I never really get cough, so it was a little bit, you know, just kind of took a note of it. Didn't think much of it. Thought it might be allergies. Next day, felt very run down, almost like I was hungover, to be honest. it felt kind of like that. Like it was just this rundown.
I'm familiar with that one. Yes.
Yeah.
Either that or like I missed my morning coffee or something. It just it didn't feel right. And so anyway, I go home. My girlfriend she's 32 weeks pregnant, so I've been being very careful to protect her from this. I wear my mask at all times. And you know, I work at a school, so I was back in school for 2 weeks. I'm a facilities manager there, so being back on site, you're taking a little bit more risk, given that you're around more people, despite all the preventive measures we're taking.
Right.
So anyway, so that night I go to sleep. You know, I tell her, you know, I'm kind of feeling run down. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I've got the shakes, hot and cold, and my body's just like kind of trembling. And I'm like, all right, this isn't good. And I've never had like a bad flu, but this it felt like some type of like something that wasn't the cold or allergies. It felt worse than that and different. It felt weird almost. So that, you know, that morning I tell her, I'm like, look, I think I'm gonna go get tested for COVID. Just being back in school, this is a precautionary thing. I mean, it can't hurt to check. An hour later, I get an email from the school saying that somebody on site had tested positive, which of course was scary because at that point I'm like, oh boy, like I wonder if that's what I'm feeling right now. So I immediately went to the clinic.
Where did you go, Brandon?
Yeah, where were you? Okay.
So I went to I think it's AFC Urgent Care. Yeah,
In Saugus?
I went to the one in Dedham. The one in
Okay.
there's one in Stoneham that's
Yes.
very busy.
Yeah.
Happened to be I was down in Boston where my girlfriend lives, so I was I went to the one that was closest by and get the test. Doctor comes in the full garb and he goes, you know, I'm sure you may know why I'm wearing what I'm wearing, and I'm like, positive? He goes, yep. And so I was like, you know, it gives me a sheet with the details of what to do, about the quarantine and how to cope with it, and about the tracing and all that stuff, and you know, letting people know that I've been in contact with, etc. So of course, at this point, my thoughts immediately to my girlfriend, like,
Yeah.
like you know, I got to make sure she's okay. I got to make sure my family's okay. There's multiple people in my household, so I want to make sure everyone's good. So she goes immediately, gets tested. And her results took a little longer. She went to a different clinic, so they didn't have her results till the next day.
Oh my gosh.
So that was, of course, like a lot of anxiety between us. And so I go in quarantine in Melrose at my place, and I'm there.
How did her test come out? Did she end up having?
So she actually tested negative, thank God. And
oh, great.
And no one else that I had been in contact with tested positive. Thankfully, I had probably been in contact with, I would say, under 10 people, probably between like 8 and 10 people that should have got tested just because they were in close enough proximity, despite having masks and distancing or whatever, just because of it was over 15 minutes. So they all tested negative, and we closed the school for 2 weeks as a precaution because it was me, one other teacher had also got it, and they had to do that and do a deep clean. So
what was it like? What did it like? So you talked about the onset, but like how long did it go on and how bad did it get for you?
Yeah, so you know, I say that it's kind of like, for me, it was like the everlasting gobstopper of viruses, because it just every day seemed like a new symptom, and it was just very strange. It didn't feel like normal, I guess you could say. So what had happened was after the initial test, I started feeling actually a little better the next day. I started feeling like, okay, I don't feel as bad. But that night, my chest got really tight, and I started noticing my skin was very sensitive. So it was almost like I had a sunburn all over my body. That lasted for about 3 days. One of the later symptoms, which was the most bizarre one, was like, at this point, I'm like, I feel okay. I feel run down and my body's very sore. But I woke up probably 4 days in, 4 or 5 days in, and my sense of smell was just completely gone, just eliminated. And I panicked because I had it the day before. I'm running around my apartment. I picked up rubbing alcohol, vinegar, everything that's cologne, anything that could smell strong, and I couldn't even pick up a hint of it.
That's like a Twilight Zone episode.
It really was. Well, this is like a Twilight Zone year, so you know, nothing out of the ordinary, I guess. But everything out of the ordinary is ordinary. So, and that was pretty much from that point. It was my taste went also, and that lasted for, I would say, in total 2.5 to 3 weeks. Actually, just got it back over the last couple days.
So
So-
over all this time, how are you? And it sounds like your girlfriend lives outside of Melrose. Hopefully that changes in the future because we need more Melrosians and the little baby Melrosian. But
Yeah.
while you're home in Melrose, how did you get like food and stuff? Like how did you get services that you needed?
Yeah, well, thanks to technology and just so the thing about me is I don't get takeout. I usually I like to just pick up stuff, and I've never had an app that had takeout, but I discovered Grubhub, and it really did change my life for those 2 weeks. Like it was
Was Tenoch on Grubhub in time to?
no.
Oh,
And
that's
honestly,
pretty
like,
recent.
That's too recent for you. Not too bad.
exactly. And it was kind of terrible in the sense that like I have access to all these delicious foods and I can't taste any of them. So really,
Ah.
but
Yeah.
Amazon or Amazon Pantry, they bring food and everything. But I was really locked in for 2 weeks. Actually, the guidelines are 10 days and 3 days without symptoms. But I wanted to be extra safe with my girlfriend.
Right.
How long did it take you, Brandon, to not feel symptoms?
I would say, including the taste and smell,
Yeah.
I would say in total, almost 3 weeks, probably almost. 3 weeks.
Really?
But I
Wow.
just got back, and there's still times like my breathing is. I was in the gym today, and I was gassed after doing
Wow.
next
Yeah.
thing.
Now let's
Yeah.
because I know a little bit from our prior conversations, but you're not in the gym like I'm in the gym. you're into like
Actually, the gym, right?
right, he's actually in the gym, like not just like getting a coffee.
Not just
at
going to the
Starbucks.
water fountain and
Yeah, little water fountain, checking the radio station and whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Picking up and dropping towels.
Yeah, you're younger than us. Young, healthy guy.
Now you're into your boxing. Are you an instructor or a participant? I forgot where you.
Well, actually, both. I'm retired though, from competing, but I still train and everything. But I'm a coach, full time doing that after work, after my work hours. That's what I do. I go to the gym and coach young boxers. But yeah, I mean, I'm 36 years old. Have no underlying illnesses. Active, stay healthy. I eat healthy.
Yeah.
And this thing kicked my ass for
Kicked your butt.
6 weeks. And I think like I was saying yesterday, the biggest thing is that, well, two things. Is one, I've noticed a lot of complacency in our community, and it's actually a stark contrast between Melrose and other in Boston, believe it or not. I'm in Boston frequently,
Yeah.
and the people in this community are very good about wearing masks and distancing, compared to Melrose. And the reason I say that is because Melrose is a really strong and community with a lot of educated people, and it feels to me that if anyone's doing well, I feel like we should be right up there in terms of how we're handling this. But I do feel there's a complacency. I see quite a few people walking around without masks.
Wow.
And I know we're over 6 months in, and I know it's easy to kind of let your guard down and be kind of just ready to move on to the next thing. But we're in this, and we have to stay focused. Listen to the specialists, listen to the doctors. Don't listen to people who aren't medical professionals. Whether they be down here or up here, it doesn't matter. So listen to the professionals, and we're all in this together. And it's not about politics. It's about your loved ones. It's about your health, your loved ones' health, your friends, your family, everybody. We have an obligation to look out for them, because in those 2 days that from when I started having symptoms to when I had tested positive, my fears were who could I have given this to?
Right.
I may handle it fine, but this other person may not. What if I gave it to my pregnant girlfriend? It's terrifying thoughts.
Right. Right.
That was
Congratulations, by the way.
So so mask up, Melrose.
Yeah, I have to say, I think since your message is one of practicing precautions, I think just what you just said about how the people around you actually didn't get it, which I'm assuming is probably part luck and also part the fact that you were taking proper safety precautions when you were around people at work. I have one friend whose husband got it and was able to successfully, all living in the same house, quarantine the husband and keep everybody else safe. And I think it just speaks to, if you actually just practice these pretty basic things, it's possible to not spread the disease. And I'm really glad to hear that your girlfriend didn't get it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on and sharing your story. Here we are in Melrose. We've been following this for a while. I think, my experience was Melrosians were pretty solid on this, but I think you're right. I think there's some level of fatigue, and it's just now's not the time to let up. There's not, it's going to be a while. So we're in it for the long run, and we're about to turn the corner into the cold weather. And just thank you for sharing your story. It's made a big impact on me. I think I benefit from that reminder, and I thank you for sharing it with the vast LTMM community.
I appreciate the
I
opportunity.
do just want to add that based on Brandon's initial symptoms, I have had COVID 500 times. Ask Allison.
I agree. I agree, Sarah. It was like, okay, worn out, run down. Like that's my baseline.
I
Hi.
always
Did
have
Sarah
COVID.
just say she's had COVID like 10 times?
Yeah. Yeah.
I get tested a lot. Don't worry. As Allison says, I bring the negativity test rate down.
Hi, everybody. We have Allison Sarnowski. How are you? Thanks for joining us. This is our special new segment, Ask Nurse Sarnowski. So Brandon, it's your lucky day too. Allison is a labor and delivery nurse at Cambridge
Hospital, yeah.
Yes, you can ask her about COVID and how to deliver your upcoming baby.
Oh gosh, so many questions I haven't prepared for.
No, I'd love to know about your experience, especially since you yourself have had COVID. How has it been with your girlfriend and her care?
Well, it's been that 2 weeks was very rough because she's so far along, and me not being able to be physically with her was tough. I mean, we were doing Zoom, Facebook Live and things like that, Messenger rather, and but that was tough. She's obviously I was still even getting out of quarantine. I was still concerned because there's so much conflicting information out there, and I'm like, well, am I still potentially contagious? And I heard number 8 days of like that's the average of being contagious, but then you see people it's just a lot of question marks, and so I kind of was erred on the side of caution. I got retested just last week, and I had retested negative, thankfully. So at that point, I felt comfortable being around people again.
Yeah.
But
that's so exciting.
Yeah,
so wait, I'm sorry, I might have missed a little. Is the baby here or not here yet?
Oh no, she's due on November 27th. So
not here yet.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're really getting ready.
Thanksgiving baby.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we got the crib, they all set up, everything, the strollers, everything, baby clothes.
Babies don't need much.
They don't need much, yet they need everything.
And that's
24/7.
Yeah, exactly.
My dog's like, what's going on? What are all these new things? He doesn't know what to make of any of it. but yeah, it's exciting.
How's Stetson holding up?
Stetson's good. He's in the other room right now. I think he's like eating whatever fell off the table from dinner. But
I
was gonna bring him in, but he doesn't want to be bothered with me right now. He's like, I need a break from this guy.
Yeah, he's quarantining from you.
Right.
Stetson is Brandon's dog.
He couldn't wait to come back here.
So Allison, how are you holding up? And do you have any last minute tips for us as a community?
No. Yeah, no, I echo everything that Brandon said. And I think that, as medical professionals, we're all a little bit anxious about heading into the colder months. And I think that, I myself am watching the positivity rate really closely and watching just the metrics within our hospital. So no, I think that we just need to be really, really vigilant, especially when we're indoors. I will say that as far as hospitals are concerned, pandemics are something that are, very high risk, but low frequency, obviously. So when we have events like that at the hospital, it took, the spring was really stressful and really scary. But I feel like we are now more prepared than we were then. So as long as our supply chains hold up, I think that we will be ready, but we would like to not be ready again. So,
Allison, do you feel like the testing factor has taken down some of the anxiety as well?
I think so, because I think that was part of it, is that we had so many patients at that time who were symptomatic, and even within the hospital, we couldn't test almost like, I don't know what the percentage is, but it felt like we were testing nobody. So yes, that is a huge, huge comfort. But we're also being really careful with every patient. I'm sure, Brandon, you'll see when you guys go into the hospital that, we're in PPE all the time, and we are testing every single pregnant woman that comes on our unit. And even if they're negative, we're still pretty covered. So we're trying to be careful.
Better safe
Oh,
than
great.
sorry, and
Yeah.
better outdoors than in. So I'll share with you guys. I latched onto this the other day, the flaming robot. So this thing's like 8
Listening
feet
to you.
tall. It's like 8 feet tall and it shoots heat.
Yep.
So I want to be outside more than
Yeah.
inside. And
Yep.
I happened to be over at Lowe's the other day in Melrose, and there was one on
And
the
they
shelf,
still
and I was
have-
asking,
Wow.
the guy like, "Hey, how much?"
They're
is this?"
almost all
And
gone.
he's
yeah.
like, "Just buy it."
Yeah.
Scoop
just-
it up
yeah,
quick.
Right. Just
It's gonna
get
be
it,
like
yeah.
toilet paper.
There weren't any. Yeah. And stock up on propane, because like we just got one of those as well. Also one of the last ones, and everybody's getting those, and the restaurants are all getting those. So the next thing we're going to be
Wait,
low.
there's going to be a propane shortage?
Yes.
No, I don't know. That's
Shortage
not you.
is going to
you
be a
heard-
shortage
you
of
heard that
everything,
here.
Sarah.
It's like
You
corn.
heard-
Listen,
You heard it here.
listen. There's going to be a
No.
shortage of. There's going to be a shortage of everything except fantastic entertainment at LTMM.
As long as we have Wi-Fi, we'll be okay,
We'll
As
be
Tom.
long as we
fine.
have Wi-Fi,
And heat.
the people
have
will be
heat.
entertained. You might be cold, you might be hungry, you might not have toilet paper, but you will be entertained. That, Melrose, we promise you. And we've got to wrap. It's 9:07.
Yeah.
What a great show. Brandon, thank you
Thanks,
for
all of
sharing
you.
your story.
Yep.
Allison, the expertise. Sarah for co-hosting. Folks who want to co-host, go to letstalkmelrose.com. The link is on the internet. Suggest a friend. Thank you so much, everybody. And Jen, what do you say?
We'll see you around town. What's happening with your music?